So, hello, Mr. Arsenal podcast. Actually, I saw that full fuck it. Yeah.
Here we go. Whoa. Saka and Devil Spliff roll. 1, 2, 3, and I like it, I like it, I like it, I like it, la 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 la. Here we go. Saka and Devil Spliff roll.
I think everyone knows we're happy.
we all called it last week, didn't we? We all called it. Arsenal win.
Yeah. Dead.
Various scores.
Dead on the money as well.
Was looking good for a while.
Told you they're shit.
I said 3-1, just the fact that I thought Son would score. And what happened?
Yeah.
Predictable. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
What a performance, eh? What a performance.
Unbelievable. Pace, control, aggression. It was all there, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my dog's trying to bite my hand.
No, everything you sort of want in the North London derby, but not just North London derby, but from an Arsenal performance in general, we got yesterday in abundance. I mean, I can't remember.
Sorry,
the last
1 second. I'm gonna have to sort my dog out.
You know, they start to see him jumping on his back. So, fuck off. No, I'm saying, literally, that's what we want to see, not just for North London Derby, full stop. Literally, it's been so long since I've seen that sort of performance, full stop, let alone in the North London Derby, where we took the enemy to the sword and tore them to pieces.
Yeah.
And if we're being brutally honest, Tottenham were lucky. It was more. It could have been 6-7 by half time. The way we were just so on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we, if anything, we sort of took the foot off the gas a little bit in the second half, didn't we? To a degree. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't really understand Tottenham's. They just wanted to keep playing the ball long, didn't they? They were just bypassing the midfield, just chipping it forward all the time. And that just played lovely into our hands on the counter. It was great.
I mean, to be fair, about the second half, I mean, I'm sure we'll get there at some point, but they didn't want to get beaten any worse than they were already getting beaten.
No,
I mean, they made 2 changes at half time and just shut it down, didn't they? Because they didn't want to try and avoid embarrassment. So, fair enough. I mean, but we still contained them really, really, really easily. And obviously they got their little consolation goal when Harry Kane saluted the empty stand at the end, which was absolutely hilarious. After he assisted Saka, of course. But it was just fantastic.
That was brilliant. Actually, the thing is, thinking about it, as the day wore on yesterday, because that's what I want to think about. But as the day wore on, I thought, Harry Kane's going to turn up today, isn't he? It's going to be the one game we all think he'll drop our guard. He ain't going to do nothing. He'll just turn up and fucking put us on a fucking 2 pence base.
I mean, the only one seemed to be up for it was Son, wasn't he? I mean, he's their one player.
And even then,
but they made the mistake. They made a massive, massive mistake putting him up against Tomiyasu. Tommy just Tommy is still not been dribbled past once, not once
by anyone.
No, and he just shut him down completely. I mean, he made that just slight bit of. I mean, he just obviously got that little bit of space and scored that goal. But apart from that, he just had no touches at all. He was quiet. And Tomiyasu has been utterly magnificent since he started. Bearing in mind the situation that he literally started playing as soon as he got off a plane, like 37 hours after he got off a plane, he made his first start. He's not put a foot wrong, is he? He's not put a foot wrong. It's just unreal. I mean, I think it's probably worthwhile going through all the players in this show because every one of them was magnificent. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm even really sorry for what happened to Xhaka. I felt really sorry for him in the end, and I hope he makes a speedy recovery because he was decent and he didn't deserve that to happen to him. And I hope he's not too serious. So, I mean, I'm happy with every single one of them.
I mean, I must admit, when I first saw the team sheet and I saw Xhaka was in, I thought, but he did
Yeah,
well.
I think we're all on that
Well.
same
They
page.
play well as a pair, didn't they?
Yeah,
Parky and him play well as a pair.
Again, last week we called it. We knew he was going to start. I'd already made my peace that fact he was going to start because I just knew he was going to start. So when he did, I was absolutely relaxed about it. Completely and utterly avoided Twitter for any kind of negativity surrounding him starting. And to be fair, Pepe was the one to drop out, which shame for him. But we didn't miss him, did we? In the end, it was Hale End boys that just ripped Tottenham to pieces.
Odegaard for the 3 games he's come in, he's made such a
outstanding, absolutely
linking,
outstanding.
the defence, the midfield, the attack. He's getting part of everything, isn't he?
He is unreal, and
he's closing down. His closing down with the press was outstanding, I thought.
Brilliant. You can't. I couldn't fault. I put again. Once again, I put it on Twitter about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes in. Bergkamp vibes, which I've said several times. I wrote an article about it, and how he reminds me not of the overall player, just the way that I don't know. It was similar, like Ramsdale signing is similar to the way Seaman signed for us all those years ago. When everyone didn't want Seaman at the time. Everyone loved John Lukic, etc. And the way that turned out, that was pretty decent, wasn't it? The way that Odegaard joined us was similar to the way that Bergkamp signed us. He was in the doldrums over in Italy. Italy. And, he was being doubted because he'd had a terrible time there. And a similar way that Odegaard's had a terrible time not getting his chance at Real Madrid. And the kid is 22 years old. He's only going to get better and better and better. And he could have a similar impact to the club as Bergkamp did all those years ago. Not going to score as many goals because he's not a forward player, but the way that he can link our play, spot the passes that no one else can spot, his hard work, his leadership, I think he could have a similar effect to the club as Bergkamp did when he signed. I genuinely do. I really do. I've got that feeling about him, and he's just unreal, outstanding. He literally runs the show. Fantastic player. Couldn't be happier with him.
I mean, we sort of chatted about how we're going to get Smith Rowe, Saka, Odegaard into the same side. Well, there you go. All 3 played, and Aubameyang up top. It worked like a dream, didn't it? Ramsdale again. That save he made late in the game.
What a
save!
Where that came from. I mean, that was outstanding. I mean, Leno get your coat, but I can't see Leno getting back into that side now.
Oh God, no. I mean, that was really vital.
I mean, that pass he did to Xhaka. I mean, you could say it was a bad pass, but he played it to him on his right side that he could actually do what he did and shield the ball.
Yeah.
And that broke the press, didn't it? And then that.
Yeah.
But he had a couple of other passes where he sort of picked out the man. He's not just lumping it. He's picking out men all the time.
No.
Great.
It's like I said.
He didn't have much chance for the goal. I mean, even the goal he got a hand to it on another day.
He was gutted, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he banged the floor and put his hands on his head, he's so gutted he let that goal in. I love him. Absolutely love the kid, and and like we said before, he is part of the defence. He's not just a goalkeeper. He's part of the defence, and they all trust him. He trusts them. I mean, when he made that save earlier in the match from Kane and tipped it away, and then Tommy Asu put it out. Yeah. And the way that he ran up to Tommy and just sort of, shook his hand and they sort of bumped chests, didn't they? And shouted it. It's just fantastic. I love his attitude.
Tommy's alive for that, isn't he? He could see the possibility of that ball being, parried across.
Yeah, he didn't switch off at all.
He wasn't looking at it thinking, oh, well, before our defenders are ball watching half the time, aren't they? He's on that. He knew that ball would come across. And I think there was another, I can't remember, there was another situation where a similar thing where he cleared it after the save. And that's what you want, isn't it? I mean, they're 23, 24 years old, those 4, and Ramsdale. I mean, that's 9 years of potential playing together, isn't it? If they stay fit.
I mean, the best case scenario is they could end up being the next, like our famous back four of all those years ago.
Isn't it? This is where we started.
Best case scenario is they could all go that way, couldn't they? I mean,
why not? Why not?
All of them were great. All of them were great, and top to bottom, the whole team was great. And you know what? The bench is much stronger. The bench is quality. We didn't bring on Lacazette. We didn't bring on Martinelli. We didn't bring on Pepe. But what we did bring on was some supreme athletes in like Nuno, Tavares, Lokonga, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles. All young, great athletes. And that's strong for me. That's really strong. I don't know. I've heard, even some Arsenal fans being negative about it, saying, "Oh, you're acting like we've won the cup and we're still only 10th." Honestly, you can't enjoy a game like that and see the progression of the team over the last few weeks. Why are you following football? Why are you following Arsenal?
Exactly. As you say, compared to where we were, literally going to the international, but we were bottom of the league, no goals, no points, no nothing. We've come back. It's slowly but surely got a fully fit squad up to this week and got a fully fit squad now. Obviously, wins up till yesterday when Granit got injured. And the 2-1-0 wins we ground out, but we grounded them out as well. We're grounding out results. It was years gone by, the last few years we don't do. We just fold at some point. We fold and give away the points. And then yesterday in the North London derby, fans are, as Lottie in the chat will tell you, the fans are absolutely going for it from the 20 minutes before kick-off, doing everything we could to get behind the team. And they turned up. I mean, Aubameyang's performance yesterday, that's the best performance I've seen from Aubameyang since he signed the contract.
Yeah, that was Aubameyang of old, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've got the energy, haven't they? The younger players bring the energy into the side, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've got the passion, they've got the energy. They're looking to play forward. I mean, Smith Rowe, he was up and down that wing all the time, wasn't he? And he had the pace to beat the defender. And he can pick a pass out, and so can Saka. They're both picking a pass out.
They're so positive. They're literally...
That first half was the best first half I've seen. I don't know, I can't remember. That's how long ago it was.
And everyone in the ground. I've listened to so many podcasts and seen so much from feedback from people inside the ground saying they can't. It's one of the best days of football at Arsenal since the Emirates was built. Even including nights like the Barcelona one, like the Thierry Henry leads one. They said they can't remember an atmosphere as positive and as great as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I said right at the start of the season, we're looking at our second 11 playing first 3 games, and now we're looking at our first 11, and you can see the difference. But that's where I'm coming from. So I mean, somebody said, never before has a team top of the league against a team bottom of the league has changed positions within 3 games.
Yeah.
And that's another stat that came out apparently today. That Tottenham are the only team in Premier League history to be top of the league after 3 games, and then 3 games later be overtaken by the team that was bottom.
Yeah.
I know. I called it after the Norwich game, didn't I? Said, we're going to beat Burnley, they're going to lose to Chelsea, then we're going to beat them, and we'll be above them in the league, and it's happened, and it's absolutely hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and long may it continue. And I'll tell you what, their manager looked absolutely shell-shocked, didn't he? He looked totally gone already. He looked in the eyes. You can see he looks broken. He looks broken.
I think, and thankfully, in one sense, that Kane's still there, because I think if Kane had actually been allowed to go, he wouldn't have the issues he's having. I think, because I think there's obviously stuff going on behind the scenes that's going into that actual match day playing system, how they're playing, because we're seeing what we're seeing with the last 3 games, not just us. Chelsea last week, second half, and the second half against Palace, they got absolutely destroyed, basically, made look like an amateur team that they really were.
Well, they've conceded, was it 9 goals in 3 games?
Yeah.
9 goals in 3 games, yeah.
The same as us, beginning of the season.
If you could have a mirrored image of 2 teams,
it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I know, but they won't get the criticism we had.
No. I mean, Souness was saying Tottenham were poor. Well, they were poor because we were so good.
And when Kane's move to Man City fell through and he was staying at Spurs, I put on Twitter at the time, I said, good, because they're going to be stuck now with a player that doesn't want to be there. And because obviously people were thinking the opposite, saying that, oh God, they've still got Kane, he's a great player, blah blah. I thought exactly the opposite. I thought that's fantastic news because A, they don't get the 100 million or plus to spend on other players, and B, he's just not going to want to be there. How can he come back from that summer? How can he come back and play like the way he was used to play? How could he come back from that after the summer that he had, desperately wanting to get out of that club? And now they're stuck with him on massive wages. They haven't got the 130 odd million quid in the bank, whatever they were going to get for him, and they're stuck with him on massive wages, not wanting to be there. It's like an Ozil situation all over again for them.
Yeah.
What made yesterday even better was obviously the women straight afterwards turned up at Bournemouth and absolutely destroyed Man City, as you mentioned in the chat, 5-0, and now top of the league.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I know, and they've beaten Chelsea first game of the season. Now they've beaten, I think, what is it, the third game? I think, wasn't it? Man City?
Third league game. Yeah, we had Chelsea first game, Reading away, and Man City at home, and we've won. We won all games.
All three of them. So that's a similar sort of start to what we had, Chelsea and Man City, the first three games, and they've won them all, and that's fantastic.
And they've got a new manager as well, because obviously I was coming back with my brother yesterday from the game, and while the game was going on, and I was chatting to my mum because my mum watches the women's football and all that, and she was saying the new manager that's come in there, 5-0, you think he'd be happy? No, he was demanding more.
Yeah, he's a great bloke. Yeah,
and again, it's good to see that obviously the women's team it's a proper team as well. The women's team, we've got some world class players there, and they're actually doing better than what the pundits wanted them to do. Remember, that's like we were all getting state, but yeah, it's sort of made it even better. But going back to the women's game as well, we've got another North London derby on Wednesday. FA Cup, women's FA Cup, so that'd be good.
Yeah, well, another thrashing.
Yeah, because
they're on a roll, aren't they? The club is on a roll now. The club is on that upward curve, isn't it?
Let's have a word for the manager as well, please, because the pressure that guy was under, unbelievable pressure, and to come out of it, and you can tell every single player, and this is going back, pretty much going back to definitely the Norwich game, because I was really worried after the Man City game because we just weren't at the races whatsoever, and we looked uninterested on the pitch. But I tell you what, from the Norwich game, you can tell every single player is still 100% behind that man. 100% behind him. You don't put in a performance like that, like we did yesterday, if you are not behind the manager. And the way that he's come through this pressure, it's nothing short of outstanding, really, to be fair to him at his age. And the way that he's finally got all the players on the pitch. This is going back to the Edu interview, saying, just judge us when we've got all our players on the pitch. We have now. And I'll tell you what, if that is Arteta ball, like we played yesterday, especially in the first half, then give me more of that, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it was outstanding. It's the best Arsenal team I've seen in years playing. And that's not an exaggeration. That's the best performance I've seen in years. And let's have a word for him, please, because he's had so much stick. We're quick to criticise the guy. But when he's actually doing well, let's actually take some time to actually say he's doing a good job at the moment, because he bloody is. And you do the way that he reacted to each goal afterwards, his reaction, the way he celebrated each goal, that is not coming from a bloke who doesn't love the club deeply, sort of have the feelings for the club. He cares and he loves the club. So let's just back him while we can, please. And I think he deserves a massive round of applause, because he's held his head high. He came out with that stuff saying it's the best 15 days he's had, during the international break. After our first 3 games of the season, people are thinking, what the hell are you on? But obviously, when you read into that, he actually had some quality time with all of his players on the training pitch, got through to them. They must have had some great training sessions, and he's getting his message across. And we're seeing the rewards of that now after the international break with some really good performances. So I just hope he continues on in the same vein.
I think the thing with Arteta is he believes in what he's doing is the right thing. The players he's brought in, in fair play, he didn't have those players first 3 games, and that put us on the back foot, doesn't it? And if we'd have had 3 different games, we probably wouldn't have lost 3 of those. If we didn't have City and Chelsea second and third games, we may have picked up a win somewhere, might we, or a couple of points, and it wouldn't have been so bad. But he's stuck with his vision, and now he's got the players on board, obviously, and not only the players. I think the coaching staff and everyone within the club wants him to do well. And now he's actually got the tools to do the job. He's got the players to do the job. The players are playing for him, obviously. He's starting to get a system that he wants to play. He's now got a goalkeeper that's almost like a missing link with that playing out from the back. It wasn't working with Leno. It's now working with Ramsdale. And now we've got the jigsaw. We've got the spine, haven't we? We talk about the Ramsdale.
Yeah, definitely.
Gabriel and White, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Aubameyang. That's what you want, isn't it? And now they're playing with the pace. They didn't play with any pace. They were lethargic. They were walking around first 2-3 games. Now they're actually picking the ball and they're looking forward or running with the ball, looking forward. And a couple of those goals. I mean, Tottenham weren't in the game, were they? They weren't even in the bloody stadium, were they? I mean, we were so quick and clinical.
Well, this is it. You get people at Graham Souness after the game. Just all he was doing was saying how poor Tottenham were. He didn't. It just said how poor Tottenham were playing. No sort of praise about Arsenal, about the way that we stopped them playing, how brilliant we were. It's just drives you mad. They were crap because we made them really crap as well.
Graham Souness is literally one of the football players that's from 89 that's just bitter and twisted.
Well, he's a Tottenham. He was referring to Tottenham as us because that's where he started his career.
We saw the image of Tony Adams and Ledley King, didn't you, sitting side by side? And Tony Adams was loving it.
Tony's like,
Ledley was sitting there thinking, how do I get out of there,
I know. And Thierry Henry in his old retro Arsenal shirt, how good was that? Next to Daniel Ek.
That's what a few questions as well, actually, in the old stadium.
Brighton next, then we go to the international break, unfortunately. Because now we're on a momentum. We just want to really play every week, don't we? But
we need to keep an eye on Brighton tonight because if they win, they go top.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if they are, they're going to be a harder test than Spurs were.
They were last year,
100%.
Yeah.
We've struggled against them for the last 2 or 3 years, but they are a different gravy this season. So I'm not going to count my chickens about just being an easy win against Brighton. That's for sure.
Well, also goes to prove if you
take a draw now, maybe.
Yeah, but as I say, it goes to prove if you give a manager time, you sort of reap the fruits of what they're reaping at the moment, don't you? So, but like you said, Andrew, as we know, some of our fan base, so we say, have their own agenda and just refuse to back down and when things are going well. And sort of trying to pick fault and things like it does my head in. But the problem is, again, I'm not going as soon as I'm used to it. I'm just like, well, it's in your vocab just to slag us off. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Your opinion means nothing to me. Move on. Let's go. Because obviously they put the clips up on YouTube and all that. I watched the clip of Tony Adams and he stood there calmly, just at the end went, can we calm down? Can we actually, as you said, give the Arsenal, the players and the manager credit for what they deserve? They actually turned up today and put in a performance they merited to win.
Class is permanent, isn't it? Form is temporary, class is permanent.
Exactly. And do you know what they've had? I don't know, what is it? Sort of lost count. Is it 6 or 7 years they've finished ahead of us?
6. Yeah, 6.
So they've had football goes in peaks and troughs, and teams get their good moments. They've had their top peak moments over the last 6 years, and what's happened with them? They've done fuck all. They've not won a single trophy. They've not made any. They've had the best player they've ever had, probably best goal scorer they've ever had. Well, apart from the late Jimmy Greaves, rest his soul, he was an amazing player. But since Jimmy Greaves, they've had the best player in Harry Kane. They've had, all these exciting players over the last few years, and they've still done nothing. And they've had their time, and now is our time again. And I wouldn't be surprised if we start finishing above them again on a regular basis, and they are just returning to where they belong, basically. So, just above mid-table.
Mediocrity.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't say they've got their pay. They've got their stadium to pay for now as well. They just don't pay the money. They've lost their chance of getting any kind of decent money for Harry Kane because they're never going to get anywhere near that next season. If they look to sell him next season, they're going to get nowhere near what they were offered this summer. And I just love it. I just revel in their misery, and long may that continue.
No, exactly.
We've been through the bad times. We've only improved now, and I think game on game, you'll just see those players play with more and more confidence. And then why can't we beat the Cities and the Chelseas? Second time round later on in the season, we carry on like we are.
Yeah. Well,
top four. Why are we top on that form? Why would top four be unattainable, even where we are now?
Well, if you look at the Brentford result as well, I wasn't surprised by that either because of the match. That was their biggest match ever, really, when we played them. First game in the Premier League in the new stadium in front of fans. And look at them since. I mean, look at that. Did you see that game against Liverpool the other day?
Watched it.
What a game. What a game that was. How exciting was that game? It was amazing. Yeah. They played brilliantly and they held Liverpool 3-3. I mean, so when you look back, that wasn't a terrible result. And you could say we were half strength, like you said, Steve, earlier as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about moving forward.
So really, the team that team is our best 11, and then you've got 2 or 3 players that could come in when needed, haven't you? Really,
our bench is so much stronger. Our bench is loads better than it was last season.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not even talking about Martinelli and Balogun, are we?
Lacazette,
Pepe. So I mean, you've got a lot of players that would have been playing, were playing last season. An early part of this season, bar like
get a bit more vest now because there's no European football as well.
Yeah,
exactly. So there's no real negative about anything we're doing at the moment now, and that includes Arteta. He's stuck to his guns. He's done really well. He's got his thoughts across to the players, and they're responding. So hats off. Anybody that said, I think we've all said it. He only had 6 games, and he's won 4 of those, so that's pretty good, then, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, Rajan Dradesh made a good comment that's put on the screen, but then he completely and utterly let himself down again with the next comment.
The next comment. I'm putting that up.
I'm sorry, but you don't want Spurs to beat anyone. You could have said, I want Palace or Brighton or Leicester or Villa or anyone else or Southampton to beat City, United and Liverpool, but not them. I don't want them to win any games. I want them to win actually, no, I don't. I don't want them to win just enough to stay up. That's bollocks. I want them to go down. You don't say you want them to beat anyone. No, never that. But yeah, there was also a comment earlier about Brighton selling us Ben White. And Ben White played really well yesterday. Yeah. He's still gelling with these new teammates. It's 4 games in. Actually, he missed 2 games, didn't he? He missed.
He missed 2 COVID. Yeah.
So he's still very, very, very new into our team. But I thought yesterday he controlled everything in the back. He's still maybe not quite up to his best, but you can see there the talent of the guy. He still made some very, very good telling passes up the field. We've got a defence now and a goal, including the goalkeeper, who were all comfortable on the ball. And we played some really good balls out, some really good plays, playing the ball out the back. So we've got 5 good ball playing defenders, including Ramsdale, and now we've got Partey in midfield, whoever he's playing alongside, who can also be fantastic on the ball, moving the ball quickly, moving the ball positively forward. And then when you include Ødegaard in front of him, we're getting the ball up the pitch so much quicker with so much more fluidity. And we're not using even Kieran Tierney doesn't get forward anywhere near half as much as he used to, because all our balls went out to the left and our attacks were so one-dimensional, coming through Kieran Tierney, knocking them into the box. But we're not doing that anymore. No. We're equal. I bet if you look at our heat maps, we're equal on the left, right and centre. Our attacks are coming from all over the pitch now.
That's because we've got a balanced side now.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
We can move either way, and I think that will only improve as well. And you've still got Tierney available to do what he was doing early part of the season.
Yeah.
So it's all good. We've been negative the first month of the season, so now let's be really positive. Let's be positive, Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot more to come from this team, and I can see us really having a spanking win soon. I mean, that was a spanking win yesterday, but I'm talking about hitting someone for 5 or 6. I can actually see that coming up round the corner one day soon. I know we did that against West Brom in the Cup, but that was a weekly West Brom team. But I can see us doing it to someone in the Premier League. I can.
Yeah.
You can almost compare it back in the day to the Ferguson when he brought through all the kids at the same time, and everybody thought he was nuts. Well, that turned out pretty well, didn't it?
Weren't too shabby. Yeah.
So if we do something similar, incredible.
Yeah. I mean, BX kind of saying in the chat, he's basically saying, I almost said we came out of that game injury-free, but then he forgot about Xhaka getting injured. But obviously, as we said, we hope we get a speedy recovery. Ain't that serious? Hopefully.
I really do. I'm done with, just specifically singling out one player. I've been guilty of it in the past. I hold my hands up, and I really have. And this is not just about yesterday. I just can't be bothered with it anymore. I want to just support the team. I'm done with all the negativity. I just want to support Arsenal.
I think the thing with Xhaka is if he plays like he played yesterday, as opposed to the player that's played before when he's been rash tackling from behind and getting silly yellow cards. If we get this Xhaka, then he should play, obviously.
Well, the difference is, though, Steve, now we've got the defence that we wanted, and now we've got Tomiyasu who drops back into the back 3, back 4. But when Tierney does go forward, he obviously drops to make it a back 3. Xhaka doesn't have to do that job anymore.
No.
And when he's playing alongside Partey, he's a midfielder, and he lifts his game dramatically playing alongside Thomas Partey, because it's not all down to him anymore. The workload is split between him and Partey equally. Yeah. So, and now he doesn't have to drop back into the back 4. He's not running backwards all the time. That changes his game dramatically, because before he was making so many. I'm not making excuses for him. But before he was making so many mistakes, because you remember under Emery when the tension got unbearable with him. He was, if you remember, he was playing as the lone defensive midfielder, trying to repel all the attacks. That is when all our opposition teams were just running straight through our midfield. And he was there on his own, trying to cover like 40, 50 yards of space. And he was hacking people down, and he was just didn't know what to do, and it was awful for him. I felt a little bit sorry for him at the time as well, but he's never been my favourite player, and like I said, I'm not making excuses for him. However, now that he's not having to do so much defensive work, and now that all the midfield work isn't just down to him anymore, he's just purely a double pivot with Thomas Partey. His game and his role is reduced dramatically. And he's much less likely to make stupid mistakes closer to our goal, giving away stupid free kicks or penalties, because he's pushed that much further forward as well. But it allows him to relax a bit and do what he does best. And that's why we see the best of him playing alongside Thomas Partey.
And I don't think Partey is even 100% fit yet, is he? I might be wrong, but
it's the first 90 minutes. First 90 minutes he completed yesterday.
he looks really solid and strong, and I think that will improve as well. And his passing is, Tomiyasu. I mean, that pass he picked out Tomiyasu to Aubameyang. I know he miscontrolled it, but I mean that pass he did, crossfield pass. If Aubameyang controls that, and he took his time to play that ball, didn't he?
You can see it coming. You almost had a build up to it, didn't you? It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
You've got players like that who can do that. I mean, Jesus, where do we go?
Yeah,
only up.
And just the 1 and 2 touch play. It's just so enjoyable to watch. And that the little flick that Aubameyang did to his goal, but that's the sort of thing that ESR and Ødegaard do all the time. They constantly just do a little touch to a player, and then they're off in the same movement. They're off towards goal straight away, and you see that multiple times throughout the game, especially from ESR close to the goal. He's all about the one touch run into space, and his dribbling. And I tell you what, his pace is far sort of underrated. He really no defenders were keeping up with him yesterday. His pace is.
We spoke about it the other week about forwards making runs and then not being picked out. Now they're being picked out, aren't they? The thing is now the ball is actually coming forward. So when you make that run, you've got a better than average chance that the ball's going to come to you. And if it doesn't come to you, at least they attempted to get the ball to you. We're not knocking those silly little 5-yard square passes all the time.
No, and I can't say how important it has been to have got Ødegaard on a permanent basis, because he also he sort of knits it together whereby by him doing what he does, and to so many aspects to what he's doing, it gives that extra freedom to Saka and ESR, but it also totally allows Aubameyang to do what he does best as well. And he hardly ever wanders to the sides anymore. He's more central, running at the goal, if you've noticed. Doing what he does best. And
almost like it's got a bit of pace again, isn't he? He's got a bit of pace back as well somewhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, against Norwich, he did disperse. I think we spoke about it after the game on one of these shows. I thought, Jesus Christ, he's not lost his pace. He's not lost his pace, because he put the afterburners on and went down the right wing, and he left one of their defenders with dust. And he is looking like the old Aubameyang again. It's so nice to see, isn't it? With a smile on his face, and I love that Thierry Henry celebration, because he knew he was in the stands when he scored his goal and did that knee slide as well. That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, apparently he's been asked as well, because obviously he wasn't there on his own. He was with his son, but more importantly, Mr. Eck was there, and obviously there's been rumours that him and Daniel, Mr. Eck, and Josh were seen in the stands talking and being all friendly, chatting and all that. But when you consider what's going on in this summer, it's a bit weird. Got me off guard a bit. But, do you think
if you're going to do anything, you better do it quick, because the price is only going to go up.
Yeah, exactly.
If it had come along 3 weeks ago, you might have got bottom of the league. You might have got a different deal, mightn't you? Now, the price is only going to go up.
Yeah.
Do we think that there's anything to read into that, or is he just there as a guest of honour?
He's a fan, isn't he? So he's going to be there for a North London derby if he's a fan, isn't he?
Yeah. I just don't think it's
one of his consortium members he was there with, wasn't he? So
I can't do any more than that. I just think he's there to watch the game. He's a multi-billionaire, so he's bound to be schmoozing with our owners in the director's box. So I don't know.
When you think about
I wouldn't read too much into it, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, who's it? Steve, the Arsenal Misfits, put Tottenham made us look very good in the first half, but I touched on that earlier, and that's why it wasn't the same in the second half, because they were being ripped to pieces because of how great we were playing. That's why they changed it at half time, and he brought on 2 substitutes at half time to stop that from happening. So it wasn't. They didn't make us look good. We ripped them to pieces, mate, and that's why they made the 2 substitutes at half time to stop that from happening again. So that's not. I don't agree with that, Steve, and I'm sorry to. I'm not get. You always are fantastic in the chats, but that's one of the very first times I've disagreed with you. But we ripped them to pieces, and that's why they shored it up at half time by bringing on the players that they did, and they pushed. They pushed. What's his name? Their attacking midfielder.
Which one?
You know
who? Dele Alli?
No, he's useless. The other one. Anyway, they pushed him further forward.
Ndombele.
Yes, thank you. They pushed him further forward, and they dropped in the other ones much deeper to shut the door. That's why they reacted to how we were playing. They didn't make us look good. We made them look shit, and well, they are shit. But
and even when they tried shoring things up for the majority of that second half, about 15, 20 minutes of it, I say, we're still all over them. We could have scored a couple more in that second half. We should have had a penalty, in my opinion, but I was at the bench, so I was at the clocking, so I don't know if it was but it looked a penalty from where I was.
I didn't realise you were there, Ryan. Sorry. That's fantastic. Well, I was talking earlier about all the fans saying.
Oh, Mike's gone.
Lost his mic. Mike's gone.
Well, I don't know what you've done, but your mic's gone. You muted yourself. There you go.
Here we are. I just pulled my headphones out by mistake. But yeah, I was talking earlier about saying the fans saying it's one of the best atmospheres they've ever seen at the Emirates, literally ever. So what you tell us? I mean, you were there.
Well, it was absolutely, as I said, about 20 minutes before kickoff, fans were just flooding in the lower tier and obviously slowly getting in at the upper tier. But as soon as they were getting in, it was non-stop singing, chanting, all the fact that Sol Campbell won a double and all that, and taking digs at Tottenham and all that, as you do. It was a North London derby, but it was relentless. It wasn't, as Lottie, I think Lottie said in the chat, she'll tell you, it was non-stop. It wasn't like I'll sing a few songs, wait for step back for 10 minutes and go again. It was literally non-stop. And even Melvin, I think you've seen the video of him in the group chat yesterday after the match outside. That how loud it was in that in the little clip he did, that video he did.
I haven't seen that yet.
That was basically the chanting, the singing, and all that continued outside as we were leaving the stadium, and it was still going for another hour or so.
It sounded brilliant on while I was watching it at home, and it sounded incredible.
Yeah, and when them goals, because I was at the end where the goals were going in, obviously at clock end, the roof could have come off 10 times. It was that people climbing on, jumping on seats, jumping on top of each other, you name it. It was something else. And then to see that their fan base start leaving after the second goal, like half hour in, started walking out the stadium.
Yeah.
Apparently, half time, what was it? Someone went off to get burned up two rows in front of me. He went off he came back from getting himself a drink or whatever. He was telling some of the other fans in around him, me and my brother got wind of it, that some of the Tottenham fans that had decided to up and leave were that pissed off and that upset, they tried breaking into the home ends. They actually tried breaking into the stadium because they wanted to have a scrap with us, basically.
Oh, losers.
Obviously they didn't, so that's a good thing. But obviously got Neil in the chat as well. Big up, Neil.
Yeah,
Neil. It was.
Well, I've been very much, Neil. You'll see your message there saying I'd rather focus on how well we played. That's what I've been doing because they didn't. Well, I won't go through it again, but we played them off the park in the first half. They had no answer, and that's why they shored it up. The second half because they were really scared about getting extremely embarrassed the way that they were playing, the way we were playing. So they had no answer to it, and in that first half especially. So that's why they just shut up shop in the second half.
I think it all just came together, doesn't it? That 45 minutes, the whole lot just all slotted into place perfectly.
Yeah,
and just showed what this potential this side can be. And it doesn't matter if we lose another game or whatever, because it's never going to be 100% perfect to start with. But that performance is right up there with the performance we put out the last couple of seasons easily. I think and that's our launch pad, isn't it? We've had 3 games now where we conceded the goal, but the defence is solid. We don't look a shambles every time the ball comes in the box anymore. Tommy, I mean, he's like not been dribbled past. He's not lost a duel. He's only lost one header out of 9. And that's and his support play as well. That's without his support play. I mean, that money we paid for him, whatever it was, finally, that's a steal. Whatever it was a steal.
Unbelievable. I can't praise him enough.
It may have been a last-minute deal, but that wasn't a last-minute deal. That had been planned for a while. And kudos. The 6 players we brought in have all, to a man, been outstanding.
Slotted in. Yeah.
And they were all on the pitch at the end of the game. All of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they will be going forward. Tavares will get his chances. Because no doubt, Tierney will pick up an injury somewhere along the line, won't he? Because that's what happens, isn't it? Players pick up injuries. And I would imagine if one of our centre-backs gets injured, then we'd put Tommy in there.
Yeah.
Rather than Mario holding him, put Tommy in. If Gabriel picks up an injury, put Tommy in there.
Absolutely.
Right back. Because it gives us so much versatility at the back, really, to play around with the players.
Yeah, it says how good we were as a team in general, or the players that played yesterday. That even now, I don't know who the man in the match was. Who I can say, hand on heart, he was the one that stood out more because they're all from the line. Smith got the goal and assist. Saka got the goal and assist. And again with Saka, I mean, going back to that, obviously the Tottenham fans doing the old "he let the country down" bullshit. You think that's the best. Again, he started off the season a bit shaky, where he's not been his best, or what he's come up. He needed that vest because it's sort of caught up with him basically. So he's had that midweek off, well, most of it anyway, and he came on for the last few minutes. But that was, again, arguably his best performances we've seen from him this season. But again, you can't just say he's man of the match because of that, because they were all brilliant. They're all fantastic. You can't think about any of them to say one did a bit more.
Yeah. I mean, to a man, they were all outstanding. So, man of the match, you could have picked 1 to 11, couldn't you? Really?
Yeah, literally.
I think Tommy got it in the end, didn't he? Tommy got it in the end, I think.
Yeah, Arsenal gave it to Tomiyasu. James was in the chat saying Saka's man of the match for him. Emma Smith and Tomiyasu are very close as well.
You can't argue with whatever anyone chooses in the chat. Says he was my man of the match. He was my man of the match. You can't argue with any of them, to be honest with you, can you?
Not. No, absolutely not.
I mean, I can't say no, he wasn't man of the match. If that's what you think, then I can't argue with it, because they were 1 to 11. They were all fantastic, including Ramsdale. And that save was like, it was almost like a Seaman against Sheffield United moment. It was like an unreal save. We tipped it onto the bar. I mean, how the hell did we do that?
Yeah.
Even like the commentator on the stream I was watching said it's almost like he was been in the air for 20 seconds. It's like he's almost levitating. He was up that long. He got his fingertips to it. And I tell you what, that was more important than people think, because that would have brought it back to 3-2.
Yeah, exactly.
And we could have been real backs against the wall in the last, however it was. So fair play to him. I mean, that was an unreal save. Unreal. And he was brilliant the whole match. And, barking out. You can see he's like veins bulging when he's shouting at his defenders all the time, praising his defenders, giving them high fives, chest bumps. He's always on the go and talking to people. And I've never seen a goalkeeper in my entire life get cramp before. But that's how he actually got cramp in the second half. They had to bring him round some of those gels, those energy gels, and he had 4 of those. Because he's always on the go. He's like, I don't know, I'd love to see his mind. He probably did as much running about as some of the Spurs players in that game, because he's constantly on the go.
And how long has it been since we had a keeper that commanding, that vocal in goal?
Well, I mean,
Lehmann.
You've got to go back quite a long way, haven't you?
There's only two in my lifetime. Lehmann did a lot of it, and Seaman. That's about it. He's the best, at the moment since then. And at his age of 23, I just hope that he goes on to emulate. Yeah, he could be with us as long as David Seaman was. I hope he goes on to emulate the great man, because at the moment, I know it's early days, but he's showing every kind of characteristic you want in a goalkeeper. Full stop. He's commanding. He comes out and catches things like we were raving about Martinez last season, quite rightly, saying he's just so much more commanding. He catches things rather than punching things, but he's doing all that and more. You know, he's linking play perfectly. He's organising the defence. He's, like I said 100 times, he's part of the defence. He's actually part of the defence. The way he's playing. He sweeps up. He pings out these sidewinding passes, and Aubameyang, for once, he's actually controlling them. He's winning them on his head. Because he's finding him perfectly. When was the last time that happened? I mean, Aubameyang's never won the goal kicks before, but he's actually starting to do it now because the balls are so much more accurate. They're travelling more, the further distances, and he's starting attacks straight from the goal kick. It's just everything you could want.
When we had Petr checking, I mean, I lost count the amount of times he put the ball into touch.
Yeah,
clear from his hands. I mean, you try and go to the left or right, and 9 times out of 10, you'd just be in the stand, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But now you've got a goalkeeper that when he gets the ball, he's immediately looking forward. He's looking for who he's going to give that ball to as quickly as possible.
He is.
Get the attack going, and the players are tuned into that, and they're on the move already. So as soon as we've got the ball, we're now looking to attack, counter-attack, and that's great. Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it?
Honestly, I'm beaming still after yesterday because I feel so positive and happy about the whole situation at the moment, and I don't make any excuses for that. If you can't enjoy a win like this and see the differences in front of your own eyes, I don't have to look at stats and all this sort of stuff to see how well we do. You just use the eye test the old-fashioned way, and we're playing bloody good football. We're playing bloody good football that I actually enjoy watching, and I've gone through so many times recently, and you've heard me, all of you, saying, I just don't want to watch. It's a chore to watch us. How many times have I said it? It's a chore to watch us. But it's not anymore. It's not. It's exciting. And
it's only the start.
I'm really uplifted by it all. I really am. And, I mean, I couldn't say. I would not actually choose. I mean, everyone's putting some really good arguments in the chat about who they think was the man of the match, and they're all really good comments. But I personally, I'm not even going to bother choosing because I'd just give it to the team. In fact, you could give it to the team and the manager because what I said earlier, the manager deserves a hell of a lot of respect after yesterday, and I absolutely loved seeing him, the smile on his face, jumping and punching his fist in the air when we scored, because. You know, he's put up with so much shit, hasn't he? And he's gone through so much in his time with the club already. And I just really felt happy for him yesterday. I really enjoyed seeing him being, happy and enjoying the game. And you could tell, because that was the first North London derby we've had in front of fans at the Emirates. And you could see, you could almost see the energy coursing through his body, couldn't you? On the sidelines. And I heard something on the Arse blog earlier on. I think it was James McNicholas said he noticed at one stage that Albert, our assistant manager, Albert Stivenberg, he actually had to go up to him at one stage. He put his hand on his chest and ushered him back to the bench because he said, look, you need your time out, mate, because you're going to burst the blood vessel here the way you're going. Because he was he was so animated on the sidelines. He actually he came out, walked and made him sit down for a little while just to take some time out. And it's great to see. It's really, really good to see.
Yeah, but if you can't enjoy moments like that, when you play like that, it's pointless watching the game, isn't it? If you want to find fault and slag us off because the other team weren't playing well, we made them not play well. That's the difference.
Yeah.
They were a decent side 3 weeks ago, 3 games ago. They were top of the league. So the fact that we made them look like bottom of the league, that says something for us, I think.
Yeah. That comment there from James, I haven't seen it on James Johnson about Ramsdale there. That's lovely as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that last sentence there, he's glad to be playing with friends. I mean, honestly, he's another one. Where I said it as soon as he signed. I put it on Twitter saying, "What a fuck!" I actually used the word beautiful. I said, "What a beautiful smile Ramsdale's got." Because the reason I said it was beautiful was because you could tell how happy he was to sign for Arsenal.
Yeah,
We're not buying goalkeepers like we were linked to that guy from Barcelona, weren't we? Neto, is it Neto?
Neto, yeah.
Yeah.
Neto.
We're not buying someone like him who would see it as a step down to come to Arsenal. And he said, "Oh, right, okay, I'll make do. They're a big team." We're buying people that are desperate to play for Arsenal. They're making the step up to come to Arsenal, and they're really delighted to be here. Do you know what I mean? That shows in performances like we had yesterday. Because a lot of those kids have never played in a North London derby before, not played in that kind of fierce ferocity before. But they stepped up to the plate. They gave everything for the team yesterday. You would not get that if you're buying players who already think they're superstars, who think they're settling to come to Arsenal.
Well, stop buying players that are coming to the end of their careers, aren't we? Like Williams, like the Czechs. There's other players that we bought. We're now buying players at the other end of the scale that want to play for the club and are passionate about the club and they want to play for the badge. And they're all, it's scary when you think about it. They're all sort of 23, 24. Who's the oldest other than Xhaka? Who's your next oldest? Aubameyang.
Yeah.
So, the average age is like mid-20s, isn't it? That's incredible.
I think if you take out Aubameyang, then you're looking at about 24, 25 as an average age. But if you take out the two midfielders who were like the daddies of the team, Partey and Xhaka yesterday as well, all the rest, 23 and below, all of them.
Yeah. So,
and that is so exciting for the future. That is, if you think about it.
And there's still potential to bring another couple of players in January, isn't there? There's still the potential of strengthening that with, another couple of additions as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Depending on what happens with, Lacazette and, there's a couple of other players that are coming to the end. Lena will I would say definitely will go now.
Yeah.
And then it's a question of who we bring in as a backup. Ramsdale now needs a backup.
I'll tell you what, that guy we were linked to from Brentford, David Raya.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of him this season now, and that guy is bloody brilliant as well. He played so well against Liverpool. I'd love to get him to battle with Ramsdale. That would be my ideal. What a guy! He looks like a great player. And I tell you what, I think my absolute first choice centre forward now as well would be Tony from Brentford as well. Mm-hmm. He is he's the right age. He's exactly the right profile that I think we need. He's great in the air. He's strong. He's fit. He's very, very quick. And he has got some really good technical ability as well, that guy. He has gone to the top of the list for me because I think for pound, I don't think we could get a better striker for Arsenal. I love
someone like Martinelli and Balogun, though. Obviously they're not in the side, and we were all raving about getting Martinelli in the side. But now, how are we going to do that?
Yeah, it's difficult because they've got to get into the team on merit as well.
Yeah.
And we've got all this season. They've got to fight their way into that team, and they've got to show that they've got to stay in the team. But I still think that Balogun probably in January should go out on loan for 6 months and give him some minutes because he's not going to get the regular football. I think we should have loaned him in the summer, if I'm honest. As soon as we knew Lacazette wasn't going to leave, we should have loaned him out. That was a big mistake as far as I'm concerned. We don't know what's gone on behind closed doors. Maybe he desperately didn't want to go out on loan, but I think we should have pushed. I think we should have pushed it really, because he's going to get some time here and there off the bench. That's it, isn't it? Unfortunately, but Martinelli, he's got to grab his chance when he gets it. And he played well against Wimbledon, but he didn't quite do well enough. He didn't score. I don't think he assisted. I'm not sure. I don't think he did. Maybe he did. Actually, he won the penalty. He won the penalty, didn't he? So I'll take it back.
I mean, Nketiah as well, isn't it? I mean, he's another player that has had his chance, but I mean, he's played really well when he's played this season, friendlies and the
he has, yeah.
So again, he's another player that can.
But he's not the future, is he? He's leaving.
Well, no.
He's leaving 100%. He's leaving, so he's not going to sign a new contract now. So we've got to try and get something for him.
Well, James
in January. Yeah, but Carl Hine, I do rate him, but he's only still in 19, mate, or 18 maybe. And I'm absolutely delighted he signed a new contract. I was not expecting that because he is an ambitious guy. But I'd love to have him as number 3, but he's not quite ready to step up to number 2 because if anything happened to Ramsey, and for any significant amount of time, Carl Hine is not going to be good enough yet to be a Premier League goalkeeper for like a long stretch for 2 or 3 months. Hopefully in a couple of years' time, but not yet. Not yet. But I'm really shocked actually that he signed because I'm not going to argue with it because I'm really, really happy. I didn't want to lose him, but with the Conquo as well, he's got a battle on his hands.
Maybe that's the idea from the club, getting both back in and out for second or third spot, or whatever, and whoever's not happy afterwards.
Yeah,
make a bit of money on it.
Honestly, the more good players we've got at the club, is the better. So I'm happy.
As I've been saying for literally months now, it seems like anyway, that when was the last time we had this sort of depth in talent? You know, youth coming from our academy in all areas.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
It's unheard of, really.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, and they keep coming. They keep coming and coming, and I don't know. I mean, it's got to have started before Per Mertesacker arrived for them to be this good. But I'll tell you what, we're so lucky to have Per Mertesacker here, and he had another interview recently on I can't remember the name of the podcast. Can't remember, but he had a really insightful interview again, similar to one he did a couple of years ago.
You done it again.
You do that again. Anyway,
really? It's the excitement.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Yes, I'm back online.
Yeah.
But yes, he did a really, really great interview again recently, and it takes me back to what I was talking about earlier about the players being happy to be here. And he was talking about when he got offered the job, and when Mikel left to. Have either of you listened to it, by the way, or not?
No, I haven't seen it.
No.
You said about when Mikel left to go to retired and went to Man City. Mikel put a word in to the club, strongly suggesting that they make a role for him at Arsenal because you can't let this guy of this talent go. So that was the start of him sort of becoming the head of the academy. And he said that obviously he went and chatted to his wife, and he was absolutely honoured to get the job to work with the youngsters at Arsenal. And it's like that feeling where, that's right, the Beautiful Game podcast. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
And he said that he was just delighted that the club had done that for him, and he just wanted to stay at Arsenal, and he's absolutely loving the job, and he wants to be there. And it's like I was talking about the players earlier. It's got just throughout the club at the moment. Take away the negativity of those first 3 games. We won the last 5 games. We had a fantastic second half of last season. Let's face facts. Let's not forget that. And we won the last 5 games of the season. We had those first 3, which I wish we could wipe away from our memory banks. I wish it didn't happen. if you take those 3 games away, there's so much positivity running right the way through the club, from the academy right up to the top at the moment, including the Arsenal women as well, who are back on top of the league as well and playing brilliantly. So there's a lot to be excited about within the club at the moment. So I mean, the youngsters. I mean, Patino, and I jokingly said to Neil, put a comment in the chat a minute ago about Patino and Aziz.
Yeah.
And I jokingly said they're going to be our central midfield partnership in 2026 Champions League final. And I wouldn't mind putting a few quid on that. To be perfectly honest, I'm not getting carried away. But it's early days. It's a bit of a joke, tongue in cheek. Yeah. But the way that the club's going and the ambition that Mikel Arteta's got, and everyone was laughing, saying, you know, when he said to Willian that we're going to win the Champions League in 3 years. But I wouldn't mind extending that to 5. Honestly, I wouldn't mind extending it to 5 just to see, give him that little bit of extra buffer there, because I don't think he's the kind of guy who will stop until he gets what he wants, Mikel Arteta. I think he's that ambitious. And I just think that he believes strongly in everything that he says. And, you know, it takes a brave man not to believe him as well. And it's all down to results on the pitch. But like I said, those 3 games at the beginning of this season aside, I think it's definitely going in an upward trajectory since last Christmas, really.
Yeah. I think you've got to take those 3 games out of the equation, haven't you? Because it was such an unreal situation with, you know, injuries, COVID. You know, there was no way that was going to be his starting 11 when he was sitting there in August thinking about the first game of the season. That was never going to be his 11, and nor the second game or even the third game. You know, you played that team that played, you know, would have played a lot better against Man City and Chelsea without any shred of a doubt. You know, we wouldn't be losing against Chelsea, I don't think, with that team playing like that.
No. And James, what you completely missed out my podcast as well, so I'm absolutely gutted with that, mate. Sorry, gone down in my estimation.
Also, James says as well on the chat side, I'll get back to this. He says Neil thinks Patino and Aziz will win us in 2023, Andrew. But don't think you're over top by saying 2026.
Yeah. I said that a few weeks or months ago. I can't remember, but sort of tongue in cheek. But it's only half tongue in cheek, because they look absolutely quality. I mean, the only thing Patino is missing is just a bit of upper body strength, a bit of bulk.
That'll come, though, isn't it? That'll come.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think because this is his first full season ahead in the under-23s even. He has been absolutely fast-tracked into the first team, believe you me. But just even the step up to the under-23s is going to do him the world of good to build up his strength. But I honestly don't think he's going to get loaned out. I think he's going to get straight into the team when he's ready. And all he needs is that bit of bulk. I bet he's down the gym an awful lot at the moment as well, because he's still got the physique of a young kid, because he is a young kid. Some kids develop faster than others, obviously, don't they? And with regards to sort of muscle mass and stuff. He's a little bit behind on that front, but that's all. I think skill-wise, he's already good enough to play in the first team. So it's just up to him how quickly he can.
I think this is where we're suffering from not having the Europa League, because there were games there that you could bring those sort of players in, couldn't you? You know, give them 20 minutes at the end. You know, those games we're missing this season, unfortunately. But they'll come. They're good enough. They'll get in the team by talent alone, won't they?
Yeah. But Aziz has developed really quickly in terms of his strength.
Yeah, that's good.
He almost went like that overnight. Yeah.
I was going to say, there's a photo from when back into last season in May, and then when we come back to pre-season, he looks a completely different person.
Yeah,
physically, he was completely took himself to another level. He was completely muscle toned. He looked like a stick in May. With all due respect, he literally gone out and got the work done and come back like a fucking man possessed. Basically, that 2-month period, he's just gone and grafted in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he's at a good club this season. with a good manager.
Yeah.
So that should bring him on in leaps and bounds. Yeah, same manager, obviously, that ESR went to a couple of years ago.
Neil in the chat's been a bit optimistic here. He says the next club that goes unbeaten will be us. Happening the season we win the Champions League, the 17th FA Cup, and the League Cup.
Yeah, that's why I love Neil. That's why I love him. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh dear. And talking of, because we're talking about Charlie there, Stephen in the chat says Charlie is bigger than Foden. Give it 6 months, he'll be there.
Yeah, completely different type of player. Let's quite be happy that they could both be in the England team together.
Yeah, exactly. Look at it.
I'd say, yeah, Charlie's. He could be a mixture of, I don't know. Maybe Jack Wilshere's the closest, but I think they've got different styles of play slightly. But I think Charlie's going to be as good with the club as Wilshere was when he first broke into the team. If we're really, really lucky, he could be another Fabregas.
Well, this is what I was about to say. It says it all about. I know he's a kid who don't put too much pressure on him. But whoever you talk to, they say there's a bit of this ex-player or that player, and the three predominant ones that come up are Wilshere, Fabregas, and Liam Brady. They're the players that always come out. Like he's similar to them sort of players. He can be even better than what. So it's exciting. Again, it's exciting to have that sort of talent coming through that we have that at our disposal.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's important that these young players also see, the previous generation already playing for the side. They're not being sold and moved on. They're seeing Saka and ESR playing, which gives them the belief that they can actually, develop into first team players.
Well, let's look at Pedri. Pedri at Barcelona. I mean, he got into he was playing first team football at 16, and I mean that's freakish, but it can be done. And he played. I think when I was watching the Euros, I heard the commentator said that he played over 70 games that season, last season, and he's 18 still at that point. So it can be done, but obviously he's like I said, developed differently. He's already got the strength to play in their top division. As soon as he gets that, Charlie Coutinho, then he could be the same. He could have the same effect. People absolutely rave quite rightly about Pedri because of his quality and his age. What's to say that he's not going to be as good, or if not better? Just because he's English from our academy, we always push people down. Why can't we just be positive and say we could have the next Pedri or better on our hands here?
Yeah, exactly. Just why not enjoy it and enjoy it? The fact that not just obviously Charlie, but all these players that we've mentioned tonight are coming through our academy. 2 of the goal scorers yesterday were Howland boys. They're one of our own. Literally,
I would have loved to have kept Aziz this season. If I'm being honest, I've said that loads of times. I would have, because you know that El Nini's still going to get maybe between 1,000, 1,500 minutes this season. You know that he will. I would have loved Aziz to have got those minutes. And I gave the same reason because he's 19 now, I believe, Miguel Aziz.
Yeah, I
think I'm right in saying. So why can't he have the same effect with us as Pedri has with Barcelona? But because Pedri's like some exotic player at Barcelona, they'll get put on a pedestal, don't they? But we're not as quick to say they're as good when they come through your own system. Oh no, they're not ready. They're not ready. No one knows whether they're ready until they get that opportunity. No one. And Fabregas got his breakthrough when he was 16 or 17 with Arsenal.
He played. I think he played his first proper game. Like his first team game was 5th in the Invincible season in the League Cup against. I think Rotherham.
He was 16, wasn't he?
Yeah, 15. I think 15 gone on 16, and then when
he
following
played,
season, he was a first team player.
He played 150 games before he was 20.
Yeah.
Exactly. So why not? Why not?
He was captain as well, got given the armband and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So why not?
El Nini is going.
Then play them.
Yeah. El Nini is going at the end of the season as well. So why not give it Aziz his minutes? But obviously Aziz is gone now. But why not give the minutes to Patino then?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's part
By
of
the
the
way,
master plan. We don't know what the master plan is, do we?
Yeah, that's true.
So that might be part of it.
Because we are going to be short of midfielders in this season.
Come January when we get players leaving for the Nations League or whatever, we're going to need players. Maybe we could bring Aziz back. I don't know if that's in the.
We have got a recall. We have got a recall option on it. Yeah,
we've got a recall on
January,
Saliba as well, haven't we, I believe? Because Saliba has been getting rave reports from.
No, I don't think we have got. I watched him yesterday. I watched Marseille yesterday. The kid is amazing. The kid's outstanding defender.
Yeah.
No, but he's again with these defenders. I know he wasn't under Arteta; it was under Unai Emery and that sort of regime at the time. But he's a unit. He's another big, stocky defender, but he's got pace in him as well.
Fantastic game it was yesterday, v Lens, and I'll tell you what, some great goals in it. Really exciting game. But Saliba and Guendouzi were playing. Guendouzi was all right, nothing special, but
he's gone anyway, isn't he?
Gone anyway. But Saliba was great.
Yeah, Neil saying, look at Rooney, kind of looked 40, but he was 17 when he broke through.
Yeah, but that's a great example of kids developing at different rates with regards to their muscles. He looks like a bloody unit. He could not be knocked off the ball when he was 17 because he actually did boxing when he was young, didn't he? Because I believe his dad was a boxer. Is that right? But he trained in them. He did a lot of training when he was younger, so he already had the upper body strength. But yeah, that's I don't think that Patino will get loaned out at all. I think he will be fast tracked straight into the first team because they think that highly of him. Which is yet another reason to be really excited about what's going on at the moment.
Yeah,
what a fantastic job Per's doing it since he's taken over
the
academy.
It's all good.
Yeah, and Neil says he doesn't want another Nabry at our club. Another Nabry situation where we think about bringing him through, loaning him out, taking the advice of an idiot, and it all backfires on us 4 years later. So I don't know if you saw
Nabry was nowhere near that sort of player when he played for us, was he?
No, he did need a couple of
Thank you, Steve. I saw him play some absolutely shocking games at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Really bad. And he looked overweight and uninterested in a lot.
Yeah.
I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah. But everyone's looking at him through rose-tinted spectacles saying
I get that,
he was incredible when he was at Arsenal. No, he wasn't. He had flashes. He certainly had some good games, but on a lot of occasions he looked overweight, out of sorts, and not wanting to be there.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's the thing. That's why he got loaned out so many times, and then in the end we took the advice of Tony Pulis, didn't we? And obviously he's gone on to prove a point now. But I think he did an interview recently with another. I can't remember who it was now, but basically saying if Arsenal came in for him, he wouldn't say no. Basically,
Ronaldo
going back to United and all that.
No,
his time's gone.
It has, and he's also not performing anywhere near the same as he was a couple of years ago.
He sort of dropped off since that sort of burst, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just repeating I'm just letting you guys know what he's now saying since, because the whole Ronaldo bullshit.
We've got to get away from this re-signing players, that are coming to the wrong end of their careers. We want to be signing players that are at the beginning of their careers.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at, Chelsea, for example, let Kevin De Bruyne go, and they let Mohamed Salah go, both when they were really, really young. I think they've gone on to have decent careers. So it's not just Arsenal either. Yeah. So let's not just smash our own teeth in with that one because it happens all over the place. But I totally get Neil's point. We don't want to let these gems slip through the net, do we? Yeah. Without getting a good chance to see him first. And that's the big thing with William Saliba as well. It'd be absolutely devastating if we don't give him a chance at the club. But I do think that will happen. Actually, though, what Stephen said there, that we'll sell Chambers, we'll sell Holding, Suarez. Suarez, I don't think he lets us down very often, to be perfectly honest.
He plays for the band,
not-
doesn't
he's
he?
not-
As a squad player, he's not bad as a squad player, but you don't want him as a first team week in
No,
week.
he won't be though. That's why we've
No, that's what I'm
sorted the
saying.
problem.
That was
Yeah.
before we signed Tommy and we had Hector. That was obviously the debate: who to be our first choice, and that one
Yeah.
was him.
I don't.
We've got a hell of a lot of players that we need to move on January.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look at the squad. I mean, there's at least half a dozen that need to be moved on that won't get near this side now because we've taken it up a level beyond. I mean, you mentioned now Nenny. I mean, he can't get back into that side, surely.
No, absolutely not.
Chambers and Holding. I mean, got nothing against Holding. I mean,
no, I haven't. I quite like the guy.
He's not that level.
But, no, he's not. And I thought he could be, and I was wrong on that one. He's not. But I love the guy. I think he's a really nice bloke to have around. He's a really good personality. I think he's a bit more of a leader than people realise as well, actually. But we need to move on. We need to move on. He's not going to get any better. Chambers ain't going to get any better. I would love to keep hold of it, Maitland-Niles now. He seems to have made up with Arteta. I'd love him to stay around because I think every time he's come on in the last couple of games, he's played really, really well. And he needs to embrace the fact that he is able to play more than one position because it's a strength, not a weakness. It's not a weakness. People go on about it saying, "Oh, it's a shame because he can't nail down one place." Well, I think it's a positive thing. It gives him double the opportunities of playing in different places on the pitch. You should embrace it. So yeah, I hope we hold on to him. But yeah, there's a lot of players that we need to move on still. But that was never going to happen in one or two windows, was it?
No,
especially after the pandemic.
It's more obvious now which ones have got to go and which ones we've got to keep.
That's amazing about Palace.
I think with Holding and Chambers, I think that's an example of young players not actually developing the way you thought they may do.
No,
they play at a young age, and you think, yeah, this guy's got something about him, but for some reason, it just doesn't develop, does it? It just doesn't. Injuries have an effect on that as well, especially with Chambers. But Holding hasn't really developed into a great player, has he?
No, he's a good. I still think he's a good defender, and he could do a really good job. I don't know, maybe even at Brighton or Palace or someone like that. He'd be a good, solid defender for him. He doesn't, he'll make your mistake, but he won't let you down with regards to attitude or effort, will he? And the same goes to Chambers. I like Chambers. I've got no issue with Chambers being a backup player because he played some great games. Let's not forget on the right side of the defence last season. He was outstanding for a patch, but he's not going to get any better. And we need to be more ruthless, like Mikel Arteta himself has said, and not hold on to these players because we like them and because they're of sentiment. So yeah, I'm quite happy to get rid of those players now, move on. And Saliba definitely has to be brought back and fight it out with White and Gabriel for a place in that defence. And that'd be, I mean, wow, that'd be one of the best defences in the league if we got him back on form. And that's really hard to beat as the options in our back line then. It really would be.
We'd play them as a three. It'd be immense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Push Tommy and Tierney forward and play a back three of, Gabriel, White and Saliba. I mean, Jesus.
Be outstanding.
Yeah, Neil says in the chat. Sorry, Neil's saying in the chat as well. He's Martinelli because obviously now he's.
Well, we said, didn't we? He's where he gets into the side. How he gets into the side.
Yeah,
I'm really worried about him.
Or Smith Rowe at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, we've not got Panos anymore. We've sold him, haven't we? He's an option, an obligation. I mean, to buy, isn't there?
Yeah, we've loaned him with the obligation of I think it was I can't remember how much it was, but yeah,
about 3 million or something, 4 million.
A bit of profit then, a little bit. But also, Neil's happy with the Palace result. Current score. Palace are 1-0 up. Was that half in the 20th spot, dead on half?
I think he's doing low key really well, Vieira.
Considering what he walks into as well, didn't have a squad basically.
How many? What was it? 14 players or something?
14 players completely left on the free.
Yeah, I mean, that's outstandingly bad to walk into, isn't it? But I think he's doing really well, actually. Vieira, he's held his own against some really good sides, and fair enough. He beat the shit team in Spurs, but 3-0. But
Well, he started it, didn't he? It had
yeah,
to
but
be
anyway,
the guy never loses.
Going back to Martinelli, I share your concern, Neil. I really do, because there's a player in there, 100%. And there's something not quite right at the moment, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger. When he has come into the team, he's not been like the old Martinelli. He hasn't. We've got to face facts. He played when I went to the West Brom game, and I don't know. There's a little spark missing from him. By all accounts, he played well against Wimbledon the other day, but just well. He played just well. You know, he wasn't outstanding. Well, you'd expect him to rip a team like that apart, wouldn't you? The old Martinelli. But there's something not quite right, and I don't know what it is. And I don't think it's honestly. I don't blame big problems between him and Arteta, because you could see again after that North London derby, he was on the pitch, absolutely as happy as Larry Martinelli with that result. I don't think there's a problem with their relationship. I don't know what it is. There's something not quite right with him.
I think
whether
if,
it's the Olympics. It might be the Olympics.
If Martinelli could play in this side, you'd see a different Martinelli, I think, because he would get the service he maybe wasn't getting in the middle of the game, because he's playing with the players that we were using in the first 3 games, which was, you know, so if he can get into this current 11 somehow, I think you see a different Martinelli.
Yeah, that's a good point.
A different Martinelli.
That's a good point. I'm not worried in the way that we're going to lose him or anything. He's going to go. I'm just, but also, like I said, potentially he was away all summer with the Olympics. Maybe that's a little bit of an issue as well. I know he didn't play in many games whilst he was out there, but he was still out there and missed a lot of the summer training. Like a lot of our players didn't go away on international duty in the summer, but he did, and that meant him losing out on a lot of the pre-season. So maybe he's just going to take time to get into the stride of things again this season, and we'll see. Yeah, but I'm not concerned about us losing him to another team at the moment at all. I think he's very happy where he is.
No, he's just got to take. If he does get that chance, he's just got to grab it, doesn't he? Somehow,
yeah.
If he gets, comes on for a Smith Rowe, up 20 minutes to go, and he can net a goal. That's the launch pad, isn't it? He just needs to grab his opportunities when he gets them.
We can't be, I totally agree, Steve, with regards to that. But we can't forget that players are in this position all the time, and they've got to fight their way into the team.
Yeah.
Exactly like what you said, Steve. When they get their chance, they have got to take it with both hands and do everything they can. So you can't just say, oh, he's not playing, so he's going to want to leave. He's going to do this. Players have got to have the attitude, and I genuinely believe that's one thing I'm not worried about Martinelli about at all. Is his attitude. He wants to get to the top. He idolises Ronaldo. He wants to emulate him, and he will do everything he can. I'm sure. I've got no issue with his temperament and his mentality. So I think, but once he gets into that team, he has got to take it, and I'm confident he will, because he's that type of kid. He's just outstanding. And
I think with Smith Rowe and Saka, that's what they did, didn't they? They got the opportunity and they grabbed it, and then you couldn't drop them.
Exactly. I mean,
he's got to do somehow. He's got to do
long term. Martinelli's long term could well be the answer to replacing Aubameyang.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
There was them rumours back end of last season that was trying to mould doing that individual training with Martinelli as a striker, trying to improve mould him into an out-and-out striker, and that would make sense. But also, like Andrews, like you've already discussed, he didn't have didn't have a pre-season with us. He was obviously in with Brazil for the Olympics in Tokyo. Sorry, and then literally he's won it. He won, obviously, his team won the gold and all that. He's come back, and then within not even 24 hours, he's back in training, and then the very next game was in the match day squad. So
he had to play the first game. Don't forget.
Yeah, no,
he offered to play because he wasn't ready, but he was one of the only fit strikers we had. So
I mean,
he played.
That's what I'm saying.
If you look at the Chelsea game he played, when Lukaku, he was basically receiving the ball at his feet, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Martinelli was chasing the ball 20, 30 yards, wasn't he, to get the ball? The ball was going nowhere near him, and he was running into the he was running his legs off because the ball wasn't coming to him in the right place.
No, I said the same thing myself. But Lukaku didn't have to move to get that ball. It was passed to him. Bang on.
Yeah.
40, 50-yard pass straight to his feet. And Martinelli did not get one of those passes. He was just running around like a headless chicken the entire game.
And he wasn't getting near it. He wasn't, he was chasing. No. He wasn't winning the ball. It was a mess. But
exactly.
As I say, if he played in this team, that wouldn't have happened. He
no.
Again with his feet.
Exactly.
And that's the difference, isn't it? So we just got to find a way of breaking in. Yeah. And as you say, I don't think he's looking at moving. I think he wants to play for this team. It's just finding.
He signed a new contract.
Yeah,
he signed a new contract. Yeah, so he's not going to sign that new contract if he's got any intention of leaving at the end of the season or whatever. He's going to fight his way into the team, and he will play well enough to get there at some point this season. He'll make himself undroppable because he's that good. So we just have to wait for that time.
Again, we don't touch on what we touched on before about him, obviously the Olympics and all that. I think that sort of rammed home to Arteta that fitness-wise, it's not quite there yet. He needs more time with the training and all that, integrating himself back into the system, back into the Arsenal way and things. And as you say, and by that, he'll see if he's ready to fight for his place again. And I think he will. Obviously, we know he will. But Arteta's got to see that, obviously, and hopefully in the meantime get his fitness back up.
Can we give the club a bit more credit as well, like we were talking about earlier? Let's talk on the positive side again, because do you honestly think that the club are going to want to lose a player of the quality of Martinelli? Do you honestly think that they are going to let him just slip away, piss him off to the extent where he's desperate to leave?
Exactly.
No.
Because let's give the club a bit of credit here, because we've talked all night about the quality of the academy, the players coming through the academy, all the young players that we've got in the team. All of them are young, apart from the three that we mentioned earlier, in Aubameyang and the two central midfielders. All the rest are really young kids. Now, Martinelli's part of the future of this club. We're not going to be stupid enough to piss him off that badly that he's going to be desperate to leave. So there's going to be a plan for him somewhere. Whether that's going to be to replace Lacazette, whether that's going to be to replace Aubameyang eventually, we don't know. But we've got to have some trust in the management of the team at the moment that they will have a plan for Martinelli. Because I certainly do, because they've made some very, very strong decisions over the summer and over the last couple of years, really, with the players they've got rid of versus the players that they brought in. So they've made some exceptional decisions. So let's just trust the club that they've got a plan for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it wouldn't make any sense, like you say, for the club to go after obviously 1 year at the club and he signed his new contract. The club themselves would not have gone out their way to be that persistent of giving him that contract so soon after signing for the club, literally a year to the day when he needed his contract.
Exactly.
So again, as you say, you've got to give the club credit where it's due, and they're doing the right things as it stands. Touch wood, it continues. We praise Per Mertesacker, we praise Arteta tonight for the jobs they're doing, respectively. And hopefully, we are touch wood again, slowly going in the right direction now. We've had a few years of monetary crap, basically. Let's put it that way. And hopefully, this is the turning. But these last few weeks, after the start we had, we dusted ourselves down. It seems like he's had time with his players. They've dusted themselves down, and now we're winning games. We've got, as I said, at the start of the stream, we're grinding out results against. You say it doesn't sound good, grinded out a result against Norwich and grinded out the 1-0 against Burnley, but we still won. Even in times where we looked like we were a bit, we still got over the line. Whereas years gone by, I said we would have dropped them points at home or away against them sort of teams. And then yesterday, taking the atmosphere out of the equation, the players turned up yesterday for not just for a few minutes here and there, for the entirety of that game. Even when in the last 12 minutes when they got back into it with the consolation goal, the heads didn't drop. They didn't start panicking and going, oh no, here we go again, like we saw in the North London derby last year at the Emirates. We won 2-1. Where after going down to 10, they go down to 10 men. We sort of sat back and played like the team of 10 men and allowed them to attack us left, right, and centre. We still took the game to them. And
absolutely.
This is the key now. This is key. These next we've got Brighton next this weekend at 5:30.
What's the latest score then? By the way,
I think it's about to kick off. I'll have a look. It's we've got Brighton next. We've got Palace the following week, haven't we? On a Monday night. It's still 1-0, I believe. It's updating now, isn't it? Yeah, it's 1-0 still.
Fine. It's going to be a tough couple of games. Palace and Brighton, who are playing against each other, obviously, as we speak. Maybe Vieira will just cheekily let that one go and just put out a reserve side just to help us out. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But I think it's going to be tough against Brighton. But I think it's going to be a hell of a lot tougher than it was, obviously, yesterday. That's without question for me.
Yeah.
I'll take any result there. I'll take any result. It's 1-0 again.
Before the season started, me and yourself, Andrew, came to get on here on this channel. And we went through the first 10 games of the season. And as you said, Paul, last week, I think it was, we sort of allowed 3 defeats in that first 10 games.
Yeah.
We've had the 3 defeats. We've obviously won the last 3. We've got
one now, they've won the last 4.
So we've got
3 Premier League games. 3 Premier League games.
Got 4 league. Got another 4 league games to go. We win them 4. Where we are literally where we thought we could be.
Yep.
In comparison to the discussion we had about points wise compared to last season at that stage.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And again, that'd be a step in the right direction. This is a thing now. We've got to not just be okay. We've won a North London derby. Just sit back and relax. Consistency now. That's one thing that sort of lacked that first half of last season was the consistency to put a run of games together, winning wise.
Is there
screwed us basically?
Is there the European games this week? There isn't.
Yeah, Champions League.
There is. Yeah.
So again, we are benefiting from not having that this season in some ways because I still would love to have been able to have the European games. A, I miss watching Arsenal so often. And B, I want the kids to be able to play a lot more football. But yeah, Saka is. I wasn't saying when I said Martinelli was the future. I didn't mean just him. I mean, he's part of the future of the club.
Yeah.
Saka's obviously, of course, he is. This is amazing.
For any non-Arsenal fans out there, literally, Saka's nickname is Starboy for a reason. We absolutely adore him. And then Emil Smith, we've got. It's again. I can't remember the last time we had such an in-depth array of talent coming through in one hit like this.
I know, but not even just the academy kids. I'm talking the players we've brought in as well, though. Yeah, they've just been dropped in, and they're just like taken to it just immediately, haven't they?
Yeah. What do you say? You look at Tomiyasu, literally played, obviously signed for us on deadline day, went off to play for Japan and all that during the internationals, came back within 36, as you said, about 36 hours. He was playing. We played his first game for Arsenal.
And look at his attitude. His attitude has been amazing. Apart from his, his quality of his play, his attitude has just been outstanding in every single game. It's just he's a sort of defender who gets absolutely takes it personally if a player even tries to get past him. He's an old school defender in that respect, isn't he? Like a Lee Dixon. He will do everything to stop even the little things like just stopping a cross coming in from distance. He will do everything he can to stop every single ball going anywhere near our box. It's just fantastic. Absolutely love him already.
Literally, there's one point in that. I think it's second half because I'm trying to think when they defend. Yeah, and literally the ball was like teetering around the bloody going out for a phone, and he's literally just shield. He runs across, gets in front of the Celso, and just shields himself there. Waited, gave a few seconds for anyone to come near him, like trying to support him. Realised there was no options there, so he just turned, swiveled, and lofted it down the pitch.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I remember exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
he's a big unit.
It, actually.
For a fullback, he's a big unit, isn't he?
Yeah. I didn't realise how big he was until I saw him yesterday.
You're not going to run round him, are you?
No, he's fantastic. He's breath of fresh air. He really is a breath of fresh air. But I genuinely think
3 weeks ago we never heard of him. You know, a lot of people never heard of him 3 weeks ago.
Again, I think it might have been one of the Arsenal. I like to try and remember to give credit to where I get certain things from, but I think it might have been the Arsenal Vision podcast. I'm not quite so sure, but they praised the signing and they praised Edu and Arteta for the signing of Tomiyasu. And, you know, you have to say that's a great find. They actually got a tailor-made player for our system, and it matched perfectly. When you actually watched the game yesterday, and you've got Emerson Royale on one side, who we were also rumoured to be in for. Tottenham were also rumoured to be in for Tomiyasu. Who would you say got the best deal there? Who would you say is the best fit for our club?
We dodged a big bullet there, didn't we?
That was a spot-on decision. Getting him was absolutely fantastic scouting in every aspect, because he fits the way that we want to play perfectly. We couldn't put it any better. It's just perfect. And I just hope to God that he stays injury-free for a long period of time, because he's outstanding. He really is an outstanding player. Could be one of proper cult hero stuff here with Tomiyasu.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you are, isn't it? You've got the start of the back five, only you've got the start of a great back five, which we had back in the day. You know, you can see it now. These players are all going to develop together, and you can tell when they're playing together, they want to fight for each other, don't they? None of them want a goal. None of them want to lose a tackle or a header. And if they do, one of the other guys is backing them up. You saw it with Tomiyasu with Ramsdale. He makes the save. Tomiyasu clears up. You know, back in the day, you'd see, you know, the goalkeeper save it, and then they're all standing around watching it while the attacking player then sticks it in the net. You know, doesn't happen, doesn't it?
That's what it's about.
Not watching, admiring him. They're supporting him. You know, and he's reading the game. You can see the fact he's going to save it. He's probably going to push it wide. He's going to get there first.
He's there. Yeah, he's there. I know that there's that tackle against Burnley. Was it with Gabriel and Tomiyasu came up in the pincer movement and nicked the ball off someone's foot as he was about to sort of strike it at the goal.
Yeah.
But Tomiyasu was there anticipating the worst situation there as well. He wouldn't give up. He wouldn't just leave it. He was there on the spot, ready to make a move himself. He anticipates things just superbly. I think
he's a proper defender, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's not attacking fullback. He's a proper defender.
Exactly what we needed. Yeah,
you know?
And do you know why that's another reason why that's perfect? Because he slots in between. Yeah, he's one side of Ben White, and Ben White's also got Gabriel the other side of him. And the way to bring a player through, like Ben White, and Ben White's going to be a great player for us. But I've got no issue with that whatsoever. But the fact that we've strengthened him by putting another quality player alongside him, that's really, really nice thing to see, because we've wasted players in the past by buying a really good quality player and not supplementing that by putting someone else just alongside them to help them out a bit. We did that, made that mistake with Fabregas before in the past. We made it with Van Persie in the past by not supporting him with better quality players at stages of their career with us. And the fact that we bought him at the same time to go alongside Ben White is a really, really big bonus to help strengthen and bring Ben White through. Really important that was.
And in response to
sorry, that's what I'm saying.
In response to Richard, We're not really talking about them, not really. We're actually focusing on being positive about us lot. We did.
We did at the beginning, right at the beginning, Richard. If you rewind it, watch it a bit later. Don't rewind it yet. Watch the end of the show. But when we finished, put it back to the beginning. And we did mention that, yes. Outstanding assist that he provided for Saka.
Yeah.
And he also gave the knee. He was dropped to his knee.
To Saka as well, yeah.
Saka's goal, yeah. That's amazing.
only in the moment, everything that's going on with Harry, let's be honest, everything that's going on for a second, only he could lose the ball in the edge of the attacking us in the edge of the box, track back all the way and assist. Playing goal assist for Saka.
Yeah, but how overdue is a game like that with a bit of luck? Because we should have given him a penalty. Let's be honest, that was a penalty.
Yeah, it was.
And then he broke through, lifted the ball over the goalkeeper, and it was just hilarious that it just dropped the other side of the post. That would never happen normally. I mean, that's a 1 in 99 miss for Harry Kane. So to actually miss that, not get the penalty, and assist Saka with one of our goals, that is an outstanding game for Harry Kane and Arsenal. Yeah. It's just absolutely amazing.
So I can't remember who it was earlier. Said earlier in the chat, would it be outlandish for us to actually go and sign Harry Kane next year?
Oh God, no.
Do we want him? Would we sign him?
No, we don't.
I don't think we need him.
How old is he going to be next summer? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I cannot believe it's hilarious that they turned down that money from Man City. I mean, they're stuck with him now to the rest of his career.
Yeah, well, he's not going to win any trophies, put it that way.
And what's the betting that he'll get another injury on his ankles that are made out of tortilla chips? He's got tortilla chips instead of bones in his ankles, so they're going to go at some point. So
that's another thing. They were getting a lot of.
But the only way is
a lot of money for that in that situation. But yeah, we're going to move back to the red side of the discussion, where it's all good and positive and happy. But yeah, I mean, even Neil's in the chat saying we now have balance on defence, and we have again. How long since we had that? It cost the back line one hit.
Since 20 years.
Yeah, it feels like it. Yeah, it got to be. Yeah, like literally the invincible back line basically. Lauren, Colatore, Campbell, Cole, Lehman or Seaman in goal.
Yeah. Been a long time coming.
It's been a long time since we've had these sort of players all as a group. We've had individuals, obviously, but as a group of players, as a back five, as a midfield, and a forward line. It's been a long time since we've had this. And so again, they've only been playing together half a dozen games. Some of them have only been playing together for 2 or 3 games.
No one takes this sort of thing into account.
They've been playing for a season, don't they? They look like they've been playing for a season. They've actually been playing for 3 games.
I know. And people just don't, they're not realistic. They don't take that into account. And they're going on about, we just scraped past Norwich, we just scraped past Burnley. It was the rubbish teams are going to be in the relegation battle, etc. But our performances were good in those games, but no one takes into account the fact that these players have literally just been put together. Norwich was the first game they played together. Norwich was the very first game that they'd all played together. And
so
they won the game.
Isn't it? If you look at the rest of the team in the Premier League, you're thinking, those guys have only played 2 games. Look how they're playing now.
Yeah.
What they're going to be playing like in 6 games' time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Scary.
And I'll tell you what, Ryan, going back to what you said earlier about our previous podcast about the 21 points. I wouldn't bet against it now, mate. I really wouldn't. But getting to that 21-point mark.
Well, as I was saying, literally, if we get, no matter what happens tonight, obviously Brighton on the weekend, it's away as well, aren't we? Brighton away?
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, we're away. We come away with a win there. That's good. Got Palace in the following Monday. And again, we've got, 8 days to prepare for that, because it was on a Monday night, it's not a Saturday or a Sunday. We've got 8 days to prepare for that. And then who have we got after that? I think I'm trying to look there.
I don't know what order it's in, but we've got Leicester at some point.
Now. Yeah, I'll just have a look 1 second, see if I've got the
Well, I think if we beat Brighton, if results go our way, we could be 6th.
Villa, we've got Leicester and Villa. Leicester, I don't know what order they're in.
Top 6 if we beat
Oh,
Brighton, and other results go away.
Yeah. We've got Brighton, Palace, Brighton away, Palace at home, Villa at home on a Friday night as well. Oh, God. Then we've got Leeds in the Cup, and then Leicester City on a Saturday 12:30 kickoff. And then we've got Watford, Liverpool, Newcastle. But yeah, going back to the 4, and as in league-wise, we've got Brighton, Palace, Villa, and Leicester. We win them 4 games. That's 21 points out of opening 10 games. And it's literally, as we said earlier, and as we discussed in the previous stream, we'll be dead on where we thought, where we discussed. We didn't think we would be, but the possibility of being there, we'd be dead on it.
We were on 13.
Sorry, yeah.
But I'd say, but the season before, we were on 13 or 12 or 13. Can't remember. But if we make that 21 points, that is what Tottenham were on at this point. After 10 games last season, they were top of the league. So if we can win the next 4 games, we'll be on 21 points, and the leaders of the Premier League were on 21 points at that stage last season. So how positive would that be? Let's just be positive as a group of fans and just take each game as it comes, as the old cliche says. But if we can win those next 4 games, which are winnable, and I think we would have said, apart from after yesterday's game, we probably would have said that Leicester would probably be the hardest one of that group coming up. But they're not having a good season, mate. They're really not at the moment.
Because they start, I think they're one out of the 4. Look, obviously Brighton and Villa, the ones that look a bit. Depends on Villa are consistent as well, actually. So it depends on what Villa turn up on the day.
Exactly.
Brighton's the one that actually out of the 4 have been consistent up to tonight, obviously as it stands.
Yeah.
But you know what? They could test us. And that, as I said, we get past that with 3 points. The next 3 games, I'm not saying it'll be easy. No game's easy.
No, none of them.
You're going into it confident. Again, it's confidence. 4 wins on the bounce. Going into obviously the Palace game, they added a bit of a drama with Vieira coming back to the end. That's for the first time since, or back to Arsenal in general, since he obviously left us. Sorry, played Juventus. He played against us. Played against us, but obviously left us properly. And then you got Villa and Leicester.
None of those teams are going to be looking forward to playing Arsenal anymore either.
No,
That's
the thing is, going to that Villa game, all we're going to hear for the entire 7 days is Martinez talking crap about, we let him down, or we didn't want to come to us, all that bullshit.
I know.
The thing is, I mean, teams weren't frightened of playing Arsenal or haven't been for quite a while, have they? Because they know how to play against Arsenal. We're very predictable. I think now teams will be frightened of playing Arsenal, seeing what we've done, what we can do.
Reputations can change very quickly in football.
Yeah, absolutely. So why not just look forward now? Yeah, let's go top 6 by next weekend, top 4. Who knows?
Do you know what though? That's why it was so good about beating Burnley in particular, because that game we showed that we're no longer a pushover. You can't bully Arsenal anymore.
Oh, exactly.
We're not the team that you can bully like we had the reputation for so long. And after that game, that should be put to bed. After that Burnley game in particular. And that's why I was also really happy about the Wimbledon game. Because, yes, it was just Wimbledon. But that was a really humdinging cup tie because I was listening to it on the radio. And it was a proper old-fashioned cup tie. And Wimbledon sent out their full-strength team who are big, burly men. And they would like to have bullied us off the pitch. And they didn't. They didn't at all. And that's why I was really happy with that game as well, because I've seen so many times where we've lost games like that. We've lost against Wrexham. We've lost against York in the Cups. We've lost against Nottingham Forest quite recently. We've lost against Bradford City quite recently. So I've seen us lose games like that in the past, but we handled that game really professionally and came away with a 3-0 win with our second 11. And we weren't bullied at all. So we're not the kind of guys that we're going to be bullied around anymore. And I'd love us to get rid of that reputation for good this time. Let's just get rid of that reputation for good.
Well, I think
because
we have. I think the players we've got now won't let that happen.
No, and that's why I'm confident.
That back four won't let that happen, and Ramsdale certainly won't let that happen.
No, definitely not.
So
definitely not. So there's nothing stopping us from winning the next 4 games. It's going to be tough, very, very tough. But if we do, if we do, we could potentially be right up in the top 4.
Yeah, they're all tough games now, though, aren't they? All the Premier League sides are tough games. There's no easy games anymore. Not that easy. But why can't we beat those 4 games? Why not?
No, exactly.
Yeah, got a comment here says we need a proper number 8 because we can't rely on Xhaka. I mean, again, talking on Xhaka, obviously, I think he's more for now, as in he's got the experience. It's more just a stopgap, as in obviously this model they're going with. They want young, hungry players coming through. So I think they will event in the next 12 months or so. Look to be probably already are eyeing up his long-term replacement, but he just got. We'll find out next summer, obviously.
Yeah, but Tavares could be not Tavares. Sorry, Nakonga. Sambi could be his full-time replacement from next year.
Yeah, could be.
But then also next season, we could have Aziz and Charlie Patino back in the squad full-time. So that could be the plan.
Yeah,
and I'll be absolutely have no qualms whatsoever to have Sambi as his replacement full-time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing now, isn't it? That there is now a plan. We've said before we didn't know what the plan was. We didn't know what the process was. But I think we do now.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I certainly wouldn't say no to that lineup in midfield next season.
No,
as Partey and Sambi as the first 2 there, but then we also have Aziz and Patino in reserve. But also we've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles that can stick a good shift in there as well at any point.
As well. Obviously, if he doesn't play midfield, he can play obviously.
We just need to play 14 aside. Really, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and we still win.
Yeah, definitely.
That's before you like that. There was a comment in the chat from Richard in terms of that. Obviously, he wants to help come on and sort of co-host and here and there. We'll see a bit more of you because again, I don't have people willy-nilly just on the channel. Again, if I see more regularly, obviously, if you follow us, any of us, on our social, on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and actually converse with us, so we get to know you a bit better. Then obviously we're more open. We can discuss that option down the line. But I'm not going to shut it down. I'm not saying yay. I'm not saying yes either. I just want to put it out there. Obviously, because it could be anyone. I could say yes, happy one, and it all go tits up. And
I like this. I like this threesome after games. Us 3, because we're always very positive, and it's always an enjoyable, enjoyable podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And what makes it even better in the next 40 minutes time, the audio for this will be up on all the audio platforms for everyone to listen to as well.
How do you download? Oh, this is an offline conversation, but I need to know how you download it so quickly after the show is finished.
Pot luck with the Wi-Fi I've got, because I have BT fibre, and basically the download speed is obviously doing really well at the moment. So touch wood, it continues. But yeah, that's the only reason it might take so.
I know. Because I should talk about you, but I've got the really fast Virgin fibre as well. And whenever I try to download it from YouTube, it keeps saying processing. Video can't be found. It's processing and all that. I have to wait till the next day to be able to download it from YouTube. Anyway, that's a talk for another day. So sorry to bore you to tears.
We'll chat about offline backstage in a sec. But we need to go now. We're going for literally 2 hours now, so we need to stop or keep on chatting bullshit. Basically, keep repeating ourselves. Really good podcast.
So we're doing
I think
Friday,
one of the most enjoyable ones.
For a preview, are we? Friday for a preview?
Friday did it. Yeah, Friday did a preview. Yeah, yeah. What, same time? 7:30, 7:15,
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You around for that, Andrew?
I will be this week. Yeah, if that's
cool.
if you want me.
Yeah, that's cool. And if you're around on Wednesday doing the North London Derby for the women's game as well, if you want to come and watch that with me as well, more than welcome to.
I am free. I'm completely free on Wednesday, so yeah, I'll be interested in that, definitely.
Yeah, cool. Guys, thanks for coming on. Obviously, everyone in the chat has been Neil, James, Steve, Richard, obviously, Luca was in here earlier. Neil, as mentioned Neil already. Again, there's been loads of you. Steve, the Arsenal Misfit, Gary's popped in with us, Lottie. I think Lottie's on another podcast as we speak. But yeah, thanks for all you guys popping in with your comments and everyone else. Keeping us going, and obviously with giving up your own opinions on Arsenal and obviously North London Derby yesterday. And as I said, in terms of the Arsenal side of things, we're back on Wednesday for Arsenal content for the Arsenal women versus North, that lot, Dan Laveau's women's team, where we always win at home as well as the FA Cup quarter-final as well from last season because of the days of COVID and all that. So I could do that. I'm going to do a Champions League watch along tomorrow. I don't know what game yet. I'll have a look who's playing who, and then decide that. And it's while this is downloading anyway, the audio side of it. And then Thursday got nothing planned. And Friday we did a preview for the Brighton game, and then Brighton 5:30 on Saturday. So busy week, but we're worth it hopefully. And Andrew, where can people find you, and what you got coming up on your podcast? Pardon me.
Yes, thank you for having me again. Been a really good show today. I've really enjoyed it. Please, everyone, give my website a visit to have a look at some of the writing I've been doing, which is from dialsquare2where.com. Have a look at my YouTube channel, which is from Dial Square to Where, which will hopefully be back at some point in the near future. It's just been a bit of a nightmare lately with regards to getting it back on schedule, but that will be back on schedule soon. So if you get that, hit the notifications button so you can see when we're next going to be on live. And you can find me on Twitter, which is @FromDialSquare. So thank you for everyone in the chat. Thank you for you too, and hope to see you all again soon.
Yeah. And Steve, what about you? If you want to be found on social media, where can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter's the main thing, Steve1886. So on there most days, commenting and doing stuff. But yeah, this has been a really great show again, as they always are. It's nice to have a winning show again, getting a bit of a habit now, which is also
3 in a row.
And yeah, it's been great, as usual. So it's been a great night.
Yeah. And again, if you enjoyed this podcast, or you're just coming, you're back, don't worry. As I said, you can either watch this back straight away, or if you want to listen to it on the go as you walk about and do whatever you want to do day-to-day life. The audio for this will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the other podcast platforms within the next 30-40 minutes, give or take. And then, yeah, you can do that as well. And if you're new to the channel, again, you want to subscribe, feel free. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you a penny. Drop a link to the stream, share it around with your friends and your family, all gooners and all that jazz. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. And until then, as always, as we started this show, we'll end it the way we started it, with a bit of Ian Wrighty.
No. Go. Yeah! What?